We're here with Grant Shapps after his speech at the CLT conference. I just have a few questions about the speech. You spoke about some new legislation. That was the Local Homes Bill, was it?
It's going to be the Localism Bill.
Localism Bill. And what was the... you talked about how it could introduce local homes trusts. What particular measures is going to be included?
Well, so the main thing about local housing trusts is simply that people should be able to grant themselves planning permission at a local level if they've met a set of criteria, one of which is to demonstrate that there's overwhelming local support, which would include a referendum of local people, and that it fits into design criteria, and one or two other things, like they can't expand the community, the village, by more than 10% over a 10-year period. And the architecture has to fit in, those types of things. But other than that, they'd be completely free to go ahead and decide how they want their local community, their village, to look in the future, build more homes, maybe affordable housing, maybe housing for elderly people, maybe the local convenience store, or anything else they want, but it really puts power into their hands.
Okay. And what's your timetable for taking forward this bill?
So the legislation is going to be introduced at the end of the year, and it will proceed through next year. It's part of quite a large piece of legislation. It's Localism and Decentralisation Bill, and essentially it tackles local government, housing and planning issues. There's quite a big range of different things in that legislation.
Okay. As you mentioned in your speech, in opposition you lobbied for a strong definition of communities land trust in the Housing and Regeneration Bill. Has its inclusion helped to clear up misunderstandings of CLTs?
Well, I hope it's helped in a way. I mean, the principal reason I was keen to lobby for it was that they were having difficulty raising finance, sometimes on perfectly viable schemes, simply because a bank or lending institution couldn't understand what it was, I mean, where this fitted into the legal definition and the rest of it. So they were confused by it, and that's why we thought that having kind of a simple clause which explained what a community land trust was in law would be helpful. Unfortunately, we then hit the credit crunch, so it's very hard to know, to the extent to which this has been helpful, because there's been a credit crunch across the entire economy, and of course CLTs included. But I think that this is a useful basis. It's a good start, but we now need to go a lot further, which is what we plan to do with the Localism Bill.
And you said you'd like to help CLTs and the people who are behind them tackle some of the barriers to developing CLTs and getting them off the ground. Though you said there wouldn't be much finance available. How are you going to involve people in this process?
Well, the amazing thing about a conference like today is you sit there with, a couple hundred people who all have an interest, and they're just the ones who are here. The truth is, this actually is not a brand new movement which kind of just turned up yesterday. It's actually been around for quite a long time, and so there's a collective body of experience. And what I said in the speech today is we need to learn from what's gone on so far, people's different experiences, conferences like this, and we need to use that in order to kind of spread it around. And the financing model in one place will be different from a different place, because the land and the way the land's got included will be different. For sometimes you just have a benefactor who says, look, I care about this community and I'm going to hand this land over because I'd like to see it survive and thrive. Other times you have to buy the land, and then there are different equations in the offing. So we can learn from what everyone else is doing, and in doing so, I think, improve the prospects for everybody.
And you're inviting people to email you with their suggestions?
Yes, and I already had someone walk up onto the stage to hand me kind of their CLT leaflet, and somebody else has just given me something as we came out. We're very, very keen to learn from the experience of others, put together the collective sort of best works, as it were, and I think that will help to kind of spread the best ideas around.
Okay. Final question. How will streaming regional infrastructure make it easier to deliver CLTs? Because I think you indicated that last year when we...
Yeah, I think it's going to make it a lot easier. One of the big problems that we've seen is I've been to places where they sort of say, look, this is a village which desperately, is in desperate need of some more homes. Young people are having to move out. Schools are under threat. Maybe the half-formentary school is being threatened with closure. And it's just they didn't quite got the population to make the village sustainable. Problem? The regional spatial strategy says that growth has to concentrate on the urban areas and the towns. And so the local authorities interpreted that as meaning we can't put housing here. local housing trusts, community land trusts, all about, you know, society, communities, neighbourhoods working bottom up to solve these problems. By not having that regional tier, by not having that top-down instruction, we can actually get local people to innovate in a way which they know makes sense. We think we'll get more done. By the way, we think we'll get more homes built by doing it bottom up, using the incentives and using community land trusts and local housing trusts to achieve it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.